So it says we're live on here. So I'm going to check to see if that's the case. So it's still not showing up. There's a little bit of that lag still, or whatever it is. I don't really know. There we go.
Check to see if that's the case.
There we are. Let me shut that off.
Still not showing up. There's a little bit of that lag still, or whatever it is.
All right. All right, folks, let's get this show on the road, shall we? Let's talk a little bit tonight. No, I don't put any chapstick on, Rabbi. And thank you for the $1.99. You are very cheap, sir. So anyway, welcome. For those of you who are here, all 10 of you at this point, I appreciate you stopping in tonight for another random chat that really never is scheduled. So I guess I need to start scheduling these more on a routine basis. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But anyway, so I kind of wanted to do this chat tonight for a couple of reasons. And reason number one was just to say hello and to kind of keep everything relevant, and sort of talk about the video I released earlier today that was titled The Ridiculousness of the Ridiculous State of New York. And if you guys saw that video, you'll notice that I went over kind of exactly, and to an extent, not exactly, but sort of kind of exactly, the process that you have to go through in order to be able to get a handgun in the state of New York. And then once you get it, the process you have to do to add onto your license. And it's not a surprise. It's a ridiculous process. It is a very time consuming process. And I would say that it's a little bit biased in the process as well. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you don't have a lot of money, what you're going to find is that you really are limited as to what you can do. And what I mean by that is you may not be able to afford the actual amounts that are due in regards to how much you have to pay to be able to get that whole thing rolling. In other words, the ball rolling and getting your license. So that's definitely a problem. That is definitely something that I found was definitely biased towards people who are not as fortunate as many of us. So that kind of eliminates a group of people to have the ability to actually have a gun, and that sucks. I think that's wrong. Also, the other thing was just kind of going through the process and what you have to do to renew, or not even to renew, but just to add other guns. And it's just a redundant process no matter what you do. So I do want to say hello to everybody really quick. I'll do my best here. So I've got Seth, who I don't know if returned or not. C. Kim, hello, sir. Rabbi Jesus is here. Pistol Pete. Apparently he stumbled into the wrong chat. C. Kim, it's telling him he's late. D. Temp, hello, sir. Ferrets with Guns, hello. Let's see. Boy, music. How are you, music? What other chat's going on right now? Is there another chat that's going on that's as important as this one? So apparently Nick is saying that Yankees chat is in 30 minutes. What do I do? That, sir, is up to you. If you want to be, inundated with the eyes and me's of YouTube, then go for it. You can leave this one and go to him. I'm actually starting to get a little more irritated with him as time goes on. Even though I don't know the guy, I'm sure he's a real friendly guy, but I don't know. I just think that there's so many things going on in the 2A community, and he poses as the 2A proponent, but again, it's always about where he lives in his locality, and then he tries to explain it as why should he do what you should be doing in your own home state. But he's got quite the platform to be able to push those ideas, and I feel like sometimes it's all about him. Call me crazy. Let's see. Big Al, how are you, sir? Compton Terry, hello. I think they're going to keep passing gun control until the courts step in. I think that's inevitable. I think we've all seen the fact that that's exactly what they want to do. They just want to keep on doing some things. Um, Razor JB, I believe, has a feeling about the Yankee Marshal, so I'll just throw it out there. Shame on you, sir. Let's see. Let's see. I thought it was unconstitutional for the government to require you to purchase something. This is like having a First Amendment license. That is true. I don't know how that works. I know that it's very difficult for them to confiscate your property. However, they have to reimburse, but we all know they're not going to reimburse you full price for anything. We know that. Let's see. This is Cat. That's on the ball and loads of info. Good man to listen to. Okay. A bunch that suck but this one is up on the list. Thanks, Big L. I appreciate that. No hate, man. No hate. See, Kim, I agree with that. Um, so he's TN Steyer saying he saw my new L9A2MF. Yeah, I don't think it's mine, but I appreciate that. I wish it was mine, but I didn't buy one. I actually did not go and buy one. The funds are a little short, guys. What can I say? D-Temp saying they threatened the SCOTUS to get themselves right. I don't really know where everything is in regards to the Supreme Court and even how they would vote. I think right now there's such a problem with, people trying to appease everyone and everything that they're not willing to necessarily do what needs to be done. And I think that's a big concern for a lot of people. But I guess we're going to see how it plays out. I mean, that's all we can do at this point. I mean, we can, raise a fuss and get angry, but, I think that's what they want also. They want people to act out stupidly and do something, rash, like the idiot in Walmart. Let's see. Empty threat. I agree with that. Second Amendment case is heading to the Supreme Court. It's a New York City firearm transport ban. Has huge ramifications. Yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of funny you bring that up, because I'm actually going somewhere with my wife tomorrow, and it's in Nassau County, and that's in Long Island. But we have to pass through the Bronx and I think Brooklyn. So we're in the boroughs, and unfortunately, you can't carry a gun through there. So it's like, every part of that drive, I can carry my gun, except for those two parts. And then when I leave those two parts, I can carry my gun again, which I never understood. I don't understand how city jurisdiction trumps state laws. And again, I would always beg to differ in regards to who has what, but let's see. Why am I not getting notified when you're having chats? That is, I think, has something to do with StreamYard. I'm not sure. I know that it appears on the channel, but I don't know if it actually goes out and alerts people. So that's kind of my bad too, Dennis, because I don't really announce them. I don't really, go out there and say, hey guys, watch my chat tonight. Or start some phony controversy to try to get you guys to watch. Because, I'm about the Second Amendment, if you know what I mean. So the other thing I wanted to bring up was something that I posted earlier tonight, and that was about the list of Blue Label suppliers. And I'm actually going to pull the picture up on my phone so we can talk a little bit about that. Oh, hello, Dustin. How are you, sir? And I just want to throw this out. The New York State had an emergency vote to remove the law. So, yeah, I know. They tried to remove the law so that they would say it's a moot point so that the court wouldn't have to hear it. However, you're absolutely correct. The court saw right through that, and they said, tough, it was there, and we're going to hear it. So we're going to see what happens. You can tell us why you were at So I did go to my local today. I was actually, putting some more money towards the Masada because I've got to pay for it. It's not free. And we just got to talking, and I still have not gotten my stupid little green coupon for the Caracol. And I called the sheriff's office today, and their response was the judge has not signed it. So that's how it is, guys. Let's see. Southpaw, I am doing great. Feel good. I fell down a flight of stairs a couple of days ago. That was fun. So I hurt my bum and my elbow and my back and my rib, actually. So that's how it is. Let's see. Media dramas driving the political agenda and the source of future decisions to come. Yep, it's all about the media. Okay, so I do want to bring up something here, and I'm not sure if there was a way to bring it up on this. That's one thing I'm not sure. So maybe not, but I won't be able to bring it up. But I did post something tonight, and it talked about the customers and what they qualified in regards to Blue Label specials. So one of the things is, as many of you know, if you're not familiar with Blue Label, if you are a policeman, EMS, first responder, former military, current military, former LEO, former whatever, you would get a nice discount. And Glock has them. I mean, I can get Glocks for really a very good price if I wanted to. And some other companies offer those little perks. Now, some people may get upset because they're not getting those perks. But I would ask that instead of getting upset, you realize what these men and women are doing as a profession in regards to, what they do and what they're sacrificing. Now, some may say, oh, they're really not sacrificing anything. We all pick our own jobs. That's true. However, I would also argue that, there aren't many people who are willing to do what these men and women are willing to do. There's not a lot of people that I know would run into a burning building. Not a lot of people who would want to be in a traumatic car wreck and see body parts and these types of things and feel fairly normal afterwards. So there's a lot of sacrifice that goes on in those professions. And I think when a gun company honors those professions and gives them discounts, I think that's a great thing. I think that's a good thing. And it's a justifiable thing because, again, these people are not making a lot of money. They don't necessarily get the most respect, and that really deals with the law enforcement aspect of it. Firemen, everybody loves them for the most part. But what I found through a good friend of mine, a good source, which I can't name, unfortunately, they sent me this list, and this list has all some of the major manufacturers. Obviously, Glock's not on this, but it has Smith, it has FN, it has Sig Sauer, CZ, and Keltec. I mean, I don't really care about Keltec. I don't know if you guys do or not, but that's not really high on my list. But when you look at the list and you look to see what the customer or who the customer is that actually benefits from the blue label specials. So Smith & Wesson X's throughout. So Smith & Wesson right now, the only ones they don't honor it for is a military veteran with a DD 214, which I'm assuming is honorable. Is that correct? It's never military, so I don't know if that's honorable or dishonorable discharge. And the other one is NRA certified firearms instructors with current certificate. Also, school marshals and other personnel authorized to carry firearms, and military service academy cadets. So those are the four things that don't qualify under the Blue Line special. That is identical also with FN, except for that FN does not allow law enforcement academy cadets with certified enrollment documentation. But when they become a law enforcement officer, full-fledged, they qualify. So, that's kind of where it goes. But then the interesting parts come in here, guys. And Sig Sauer does not or no longer offers federal flight deck officers, court judges, district attorneys, and deputy DAs. They also now do not give military veterans with disability at any capacity, Blue Line Special, or military veterans with 100% disability, and again with the military veteran DD 214. So that's an honorable. So CKIM is saying that's honorable discharge. So now you guys know that. So they don't honor those 4 or 5 categories. Now CZ does not offer any discounts for correction officers because they have such a great job. I mean, why would they need that? But they also don't offer it to court officers with official credentials, or first responders, which are firefighters and rescue personnel with current credentials, or military veterans with disability any capacity, honorably discharged veterans, or NRA certified, blah, blah, blah. So, I wanted to bring that up because I find that to be a little bit offensive in a way. So I would like to know what you guys think about that. It obviously my opinion is going to be very, very biased as being a former first responder. I was a fireman and a medic for many years, and I can speak firsthand with the sacrifices you have to give to do those professions, not only physically, but personally, socially to an extent, because when you see certain things, you change, you absolutely change. We look at what's going on in New York City right now. I think this past month, we've had 9 NYPD police officers commit suicide. So my question would be, are you guys willing to give these companies a hard time? Everybody wants to, say I'm for the 2A and I'm a big tough guy. Me personally, I own CZs. You guys know that. I own 1 SIG, and that's it. But I posted it very publicly. I attached the at CZ and at SIG, and I have no problem doing that. But I think it would be cool to see a lot of you guys repost and go after them a little bit and give them a hard time and see what their justification is. I would like to know why CZ feels that a first responder isn't as qualified as somebody who maybe isn't doing as a sophisticated job or as an unsafe job. Same thing with SIG. So just like to know what it is, what you guys think about that. So let's see. Commentary, you just tell me when it's time to panic buy. I think that time is now. Rabbi saying, do they get tax incentives for providing these Blue Line discounts? That I couldn't tell you. I don't know. And honestly, do they really need any tax incentives? I'm sure they're making a pretty comfortable living, especially right now. Pistol Pete, it was actually SIG and CZ that are no longer honoring those. Yep, it's not Smith. Smith is still doing what they're supposed to be doing. Thank God. La la la. SIG and CZ shitting on vets and first responders. I agree with that statement wholeheartedly. I also think it's weird because, right now, you would think that instead of them promoting more people to own or have gun ownership, it seems like they're restricting it again. And I don't get that. I don't understand why CZ or SIG would go that route. SIG, I'm not very surprised about. I personally am not impressed by SIG Sauer. I'm not. You guys know I love the P225A1, but I am personally not impressed with SIG Sauer. I'm just not. I don't necessarily, I guess I got a bad taste in my mouth from when I called him about the night sights. Although I have to say, and thanks to MD Polo, he gave me another contact information. So they asked me to send a slide back to him. So that's cool on that part, but it shouldn't have taken, contacting different people. It's either stand by your product or don't. And so I'm not super impressed with SIG. CZ, I'm very surprised by, especially from a manufacturer that has sometimes problems with production of firearms. But that's me. I mean, that's just, that's what I think. Let's see. Even as a vet, I don't bother with discounts. It's cool that it's offered, but 9/11 motivated me to do something about it. Didn't motivate me to ask for discounts. Yeah, I don't. And again, I don't think anybody would say you need to ask for the discount. I think it's the right thing to do to offer it. If you guys are willing to do what you need to do, I don't have any problem with somebody offering you that discount for your service and for your time in, whether it's military, law enforcement, or even being a first responder. Let's see. Compton saying, I like the P365, but that's it. Never been a SIG person. Me neither. I mean, they make some decent, obviously they make decent guns, but I've never been a SIG guy. Hell, the blue line discounts are a little different from LEO and EMS. They're kind of a standard. Okay. Let's see. Pistol saying he hasn't really ever had good dealings with CZ. Fortunately, I've never had to really use him for anything. Thank God. Kathleen saying she's had good luck with CZ repair. Uh-oh. Big Al saying YouTube is not allowing me to make a donation. I'm sure I've been demonetized completely, which is another interesting thing. I went back and looked a lot of my videos, and it seems like YouTube's up to their old tricks. And what I mean by that is they are actually demonetizing like every third video I've made. So it's kind of interesting. So I had to go in there today and actually say, hey, what's going on here? Why am I demonetized so much? Dennis B is saying he thinks it's BS, SIG not honoring the lifetime warranty. Yeah, I mean, they eventually did, but it's the whole point. Like I said, you shouldn't have to do that, which is ridiculous. Hello, Fresh. How are you, sir? That's all right, Big Al. No worries, buddy. I know that Rabbi, I think, gave me less than $2 before. So thank you, sir. All right. So that's kind of my big deal for tonight. Obviously we had the stuff that went down in Philadelphia with the, I think like the 32-time convicted felon or whatever he was, who somehow got guns and somehow shot, what was it, 7 or 9 police officers while the crowd was harassing the police and mocking them during the whole time. So again, the whole idea that somehow these magical gun laws are going to stop all crime and all criminals from getting their hands on guns. I mean, again, I think reality, once again, shows you that's not the case. All right. And you never answered the question. I don't kiss men, Rabbi. You have me confused with somebody else. Let's see. Some people shouldn't be allowed to call 911. See, Kim, when talking to SIG, never talk to a salesman. Go straight to the... I did. I went to the warranty department. And they kind of were just not cool about it. So I don't know what that was about. And it didn't even make sense. Like, how do you take a good photograph of night sights without having to change the either the exposure or something else? I mean, that made no sense. I'm not sure whether to buy one Daniel Defense rifle or build 3 Palmetto rifles. Well, I mean, it's up to you, buddy. Honestly, I'm not into the big expenses. I believe that more is better. So if you have the ability to buy 3 and build 3, by all means, sir, build 3. That's what I would do. But that's just me. I was a 32-time convicted felon, even walking around for again, I'm exaggerating a little hyperbole there. I don't know if it was 32, but it might have been 20 something. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how that's possible. Let's see. Yeah, Rabbi. Yeah, next time that's what I'm going to do. But you know what? I try to be honest, man. I'm not like I don't do that stuff. Like I don't try to, screw anybody or anything over. I just try to do what I think is the right thing to do. So that's a flaw. Sorry. LZ's asking what happened to Pops. So Pops right now, and again, I don't know if I can say it. I found out through a third party, but Pops is taking a little bit of a hiatus for a while. He's fine. He's cool, but he's doing some other things. He's a good guy, man. I like Pops quite a bit. I really enjoyed a lot of his stuff in the past year, just doing the competition stuff and kind of going through it and really just discussing a lot of stuff that's way over my head in regards to, ammunition and powder and all that other stuff. But he's a good dude. Pop's a good guy. So Big Al saying, give the locals the responsibility to police their local thugs. If they don't work, Popo is right down the road. It's kind of interesting because one of the biggest arguments that people make in regards to the whole gun debate and the fact that you don't need any is that you don't need guns because you have law enforcement. But that's not true in a lot of cases. If you're in a rural district, a lot of times you won't even have police responding to your home because there are none there. A lot of times the local jurisdictions here, especially, don't even have full-time officers 24/7. They have them from 7 a.m. to midnight. So they're all part-time cops. And so when something goes down, and usually it goes down after midnight, you call 911, you're going to actually be getting a state police officer or state trooper, and it depends on where they're at. So if let's say you're in point A of the county, but that state trooper is in point C, you have to wait for that state trooper to get from point C to point A because there's nobody else who's responding. So I don't buy into that argument. That's a ridiculous argument. That's only a valid argument if you live in more of an urban area or suburban type of area where there's maybe more police presence. But that's not the case in rural areas for the most part. All right, let's see. So if you're traveling through New York City to Long Island or New Jersey, I believe your firearms can be in the vehicle, but you cannot leave your vehicle with your fire. I have to look into it. I think you have to lock them and separate everything. So I mean, I'd be right before I get to the Bronx. I have to stop, pull all my shit off, lock it up and separate it. And then once I get back into Long Island, take it out and put it back on. So I have to look into that tonight, which is what I'm going to do. But again, things are a little sketchy too. You can't always believe what you read, and then you wind up going through the boroughs. Next thing you know, you get pulled over, and now they're arresting you. So I want to try to avoid being arrested. Let's see. Oh, I want to go to this one. Pistol saying, I've never heard of the police closing for the day. You haven't ever heard of that. Neither have I. And the first time I heard it was when I had to call them at midnight. And when we got the dispatcher on the phone, they told us that 4 other people had called that night and that officers were on their way, but there was nobody local. So we had to wait for response time from state police and the local sheriff's office, which took about 45 minutes, which by then anything could have happened. And that's where I'm like, thank God I have a gun, because things were going down that shouldn't have been going down. That's for sure. Funny how that statement comes from people that are always yelling about police brutality. I guess what's going to have to happen is the police are going to have to stop policing, and then see what happens. And then if you feel like your community is safer without the police, well, then you've proven your point. But if you feel like it's not as safe, well, then you need the police. Let's see. Civil defense. Yep. You're your own best civil defense. That's for sure. Let's see. LA riots, Watts riots, Katrina, Baltimore, many, many times where emergency response cannot get to you. That is true. The Armsman is saying, with my experience living in New York most of my life, the worst areas are always by a police precinct, ironically. Yeah. That is true. That is actually very, very true. Be like me? I don't know. I don't know if you want to do that, guys. I'm just looking at my phone here. Don't be like me. Be like yourselves. Let's see. Let the power grid go down for a few days. See how people act then. Yeah, I know they'll be banging on people's doors for assistance, but I don't. I don't want to wish bad on anybody. I really don't. I just think that at some point there's got to be a rational discussion about what we're going to do next, and that's not going to happen. Let's put it that way. And then Pistol Pete saying 45 minutes. Yeah, just call a cop if you need help. It makes no sense. I mean, in the incident that I'm talking about, there was a huge problem on the street I live on. There was a lot of people on the road. I would say probably like 250 people that should not have been here. And, let's just say they were doing some illegal activities on the road. And in this tiny little area I live in. And so when we called the police, we didn't get the response time that I think we should have gotten, especially with the amount of taxes we're paying here. And so I had to go out with a gun and I had to basically protect my property, and, thankfully nothing happened after that. But, there were people trying to park on my lawn. It was crazy. It was insane. It was insane. Let's see. Dennis, I had a buddy who was a New York State trooper tell me if something goes down, if someone comes in your home, shoot to kill, and then call 911. Yeah, I know. I mean, what do you do? Is that why, I've always wondered, when I carry a knife with me, I'm going to throw the knife at someone, and when they catch it, then I'm going to say it's self-defense. Yeah, see, Kim, you're going to be a criminal because you own body armor. Body armor's bad. It is now bad. So, commentary saying it's self-evident why civilians have the right to own firearms. I'm amazed at some of the things I'm hearing in media about repealing the Second Amendment. They'd have to call a constitutional convention for that to happen, and that's a highly unlikely. I would never be in favor of calling a constitutional convention because of the climate we're in right now. AC saying, I have a New York City license, can only travel to range and back, must have trigger lock and case lock, no ammo in case, put gun case in bag. Wow, that sucks. Yeah, I mean, I have to see. I might just do that and then just go from there. If I get arrested, I hope one of you guys bails me out. Anthony Lamastro, hello, sir. How are you? Burnt coffee, I support the police, but I am the number one protector at my home. That is true, sir. If you cannot rely on yourself, you cannot rely on others to help you out. How do I feel about the new laws about knives? You know what? I'm not a knife guy. I'm assuming there are some new laws in New York that they just put in. So, you can instruct me on what they are. I mean, I guess if it's sharp, then it's illegal now. So if you guys have a spork, I guess you can, carry that in your pocket. So, but then they'll outlaw the sporks because there's, spikes on it, even though it's in the shape of a spoon. So it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me at all. Yeah, no thanks. I don't need that many friends. Gun laws, knife laws, club laws, large rock laws. I know, it's everything. Anything that can be misconstrued as a deadly weapon, including pencils. Knife laws are silly as heck. I agree. Maximus 2012 is saying my best friend in New York was just denied a permit to purchase a handgun because he took anti-anxiety meds in 7th grade. 30 years old and was a machine gunner in the Marine Corps. That's interesting. I'd be interested to know what county that is in, or what part of New York that is. Now, let me ask you this. Was he denied his handgun permit, or was he denied the ability to get the gun at the shop? That's what I'd be curious to know. And then Rabbi's asking, how did they know? That I don't. I have no idea. I don't know how that. I don't think they have any databases right now, unless he was red flagged somehow. Maybe a neighbor or a parent or, a concerned citizen, quote unquote. But that's the danger of the red flag laws. So I got a lot of people bouncing in and out. So again, thank you everybody for joining. For those of you who came out, again, I guess I'm competing against the Yankee Marshal on Thursday nights. But like I said, I don't really plan these, so I just do them. I do them whenever I feel like it. Let's see. So Dennis is saying if you carry a knife and it's in your pocket, it's and instantly identifiable. If I could speak, that'd be great. You can be arrested. Oh, okay. That's interesting. New York gun laws are insane and stupid. So they're insane and stupid. That's great. You think they're going to pass red flag laws? Yes, I do. I think those are inevitable. I think that is something they're going to pass. And then they'll say, or they'll play it off saying that this was the best compromise that they could find, and or at least get without getting too much political fire from it. So I would suspect that that is going to happen. Let's see. Dennis is saying he takes anti or anxiety medication. He got his concealed carry permit. Rabbi Jesus, so basically off-duty firefighters couldn't carry their tools. Yeah, no, you can't carry a Leatherman with you anymore because that's illegal. Oh, look who it is. It's Pops. You would arrest me for my lack of hair. Listen, I have not been blessed with a good head of hair. I was at one time, but then it just went. It went bye-bye. Good to see it, Pops. We were just talking about you. I wonder if you heard us. My CCW allows me to carry any legal weapon, including a cane sword. Cane sword? Wow, are you a spy? I wonder if C. Kim's a spy. If it's not instantly identifiable, sorry, misspelled. So, okay. So if it's not instantly identifiable, so if it doesn't appear to look like a knife, but it is a knife, you can get in trouble for that. Interesting. So, I mean, could you carry a Leatherman? Because it doesn't look like a knife unless you open it up to the knife. And what if you got something stippled or spray painted on there that says knife? Is that something they could use? Let's see, ND Irish. Hello, sir. Will the red flag laws be at the state or national level? Those are going to be national red flag laws. That's going to be probably a 50-state dealio. Although I don't know. I think they were saying that they're going to allow the states to do it. But New York already has red flag laws. They're already in place. Compton Terry saying national. Rabbi saying you can grow your eyebrows out and comb them back. All right, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that. Let's see, pass universal background checks as well. Yeah, and that's kind of the interesting thing too. Like, again, everything's case by case different. Like for me, in New York, every time you get a gun, you have to get a background check every single time. So it doesn't matter if you already went through the background check and the fingerprinting and everything for your carry permit. You still, every time you walk into a gun shop and make a purchase, have to get that background check. I know some people think that's intrusive. I don't really know like what it is in every state. I just know with my state. So for me, it's totally normal to have to go and pay for a background check. I mean, it's stupid, but totally normal for us here. And keep talking it up. Yeah, King Cuomo, man. This guy is so engorged with power here. It's not even funny. He's got no resistance at all. None. The Republicans in the House, they'll say something, and it's like nobody's listening because he doesn't have to. I agree, Pistol Pete. Texas won't enforce it. Which again, I don't know who's going to have the ability to do that. If it's a national red flag law, I don't know. I don't know how that would play out. Do the states have the power to determine that? And I would assume they do, because New York has the dumbest gun laws, but the federal government doesn't. So that's where it's kind of an awkward standoff there. They're pushing for state laws and offering them bribes from the federal level. Those are the current ideas being bandied about. I believe that too. Universal, I guess, would mean on every single purchase. At least that's what I think. Or everybody. I don't know. Ask the guy in Maryland if they should have a national red flag law. Oh, wait, he's dead. That's true. They shot him up. Let's see. Even on private sales. Yep. Even on private sales in New York, you have to go to an FFL. You used to be able to do, a private sale with, like, let's say a long gun, not with a pistol. But they've actually changed that with the SAFE Act. So now you have to go to an FFL and, do it that way. Yeah. Pop saying United Nations background check coming will take 3 years. Yeah, probably. That's if they don't eliminate ammo completely, because that's what they're looking at right now in New York. There was I think an assemblywoman down in the city, what a surprise, who was telling Cuomo that he hasn't done enough to restrict ammunition. So I'll tell you, man, if they go that route, at some point, people of New York need to wake the hell up, because that is just not cool. Sorry. I mean, it's bad enough for us here, but if he starts doing a limitation on ammo, that's a huge problem. because if you go to a range and shoot, what are you going to take, 20 rounds? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Every time I go to the range, I'm taking 500, 800, 1,000 rounds with me, not to harm anybody, but just to go and shoot a bunch of guns. That's it. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see. Wait, there it is. So Texas background checks, we don't have an extra fee for. The only time we pay an extra fee is if we don't go through the FFL. So if like I want to sell a gun to somebody else, we have to pay a transfer fee, which is sort of part of the fee is doing the background as well. Kermit Loves Bacon is saying, I already have to do a background check every time I have a gun. Kermit, what state do you live in, sir? Because that's what we do here in New York. Let's see. Yep, just for transfers. Same thing. I wouldn't sell a gun to a stranger anyway. Yeah, I agree. Universal background check law was passed by the House already. Senate will likely vote on it when they come back. Yeah, I know. Nice to have a nice long vacation. Makes it illegal to sell a gun to a private party. Must go through the FFL. Right. Pop's going to truck ammo to me. Good. We're going to start a huge black market ring with ammo. That'd be perfect. When I sell an arms list, I sell to LTC holders only with the bill of sale. So I'm assuming you're probably down south. I'm going to say maybe Texas, Rooster. Yep, there it goes. I just figured that out. Yay. In New York, could you get a CR license then buy surplus pistols? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. And then Kermit's out of Connecticut. Oy, gosh. Connecticut. That's probably better than New York. Red flag equals guilty and defenseless until you prove your innocence. It's common sense. Yeah, and I think that's obviously going to be challenged. You know, the first person that I think goes through this process, because you know it's going to happen, and at some point the person isn't going to get shot by the cops. But I think eventually what's going to happen is you're going to have somebody who gets arrested. They take or basically confiscate their property, and then it's going to be a huge court issue. And if you go back to Hurricane Katrina, New Orleans did that very same thing. They removed all guns from people who stayed behind, and they confiscated them, and then they never gave them back. And they were holding them and holding them and holding them, and they had them in these trailers outside. And when people came with their, whether it was a bill of sale or their permits or cases that had serial numbers, they denied them those guns. So I mean, that's already happened. There's already been places where they've confiscated, and they've never given them back. So this is interesting. Big Al saying plans a road trip to meet the people I have great respect for. I am one of them. Again, I'm Big Al, and I don't want you to take offense to this, but I don't mind meeting up, but I'm not bringing you to my house. And it's not a personal thing. I don't want you to feel like I'm going after you, buddy. It's just that, you know, I got a couple of kids. I got a wife. You know, I like my privacy a little bit, but I don't have, listen, you want to go get a bite to eat? We can do that. I'd have no problem going to lunch or dinner with you. How's that sound? Let's see. Wicked is telling me to, Wicked, where the hell have you been? I haven't seen you in ages, and you already are bothering me. So I'll show you where the gym is. Oh man, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. How are those steroids taken? Let's see. Florida is the 12th gun friendly state now. I believe we're 26th. Yeah, I believe we're numbers, probably number like 48. Do I own an AR-15? I do not. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you. Just saying. But no, honestly, I do not own an AR-15. I would never own an AR. But I would own something else if I could. Let's see. Rabbi saying, hello, Wicked. Let's see. Michelangelo, I'm down for a meetup. Just give me time in advance to book a flight. Yeah, that would be interesting. I'm not housing anybody. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. But yeah, I mean, just to go out for a bite to eat, you know, no problem, man. I'm good with that. Plus, I'll be carrying a gun, so you know, there shouldn't be any shenanigans. And since you guys aren't from New York, you can't carry guns. So that's funny. The president was flagged by the FBI. They went to FISA court, a court outside the Constitution. Yeah, that's a good point too. On false information, gotta love that. And if they can do it to a president, a sitting president, imagine what they're going to do to all of us. And the Irish are saying in Michigan can sell pistols to private owners and aren't required to turn in paperwork. Wow, That's interesting. See, and that's where the disparity is from state to state, you know? So I just wonder, like, what is a solution? Is there a viable solution to this? Where it's a little bit more uniform. And if they want to uniform everything, then that's fine. And I guess I shouldn't say that because people will start saying, "Oh, you said fine." But what I'm saying is, if that's the route they're going, then you know what, guys, they need to do national reciprocity, and whatever, you know. But we'll see. Rabbi saying for a hookup with 70 minimum is boy, you know a lot about Grinder. What does that say about you, sir? I missed the AR boat here in Connecticut. Only way I can get a real AR-15 is pre-94. Yeah, or you got to make them look really stupid. And honestly, I believe there's many good options out there. I personally, I love lever action rifles. I think they're fantastic. Capacity sucks, but I still think they're very viable rifles. Yes, Slumber Party at 1776's house. Yep. Just so you guys know, I live in Texas, and my name is Big Johnson. Have I ever met Big J or KS? No, I haven't. Those guys I have never met in person. Big Johnson lives in Texas, man. That's a long, long drive / flight. KS lives in Kansas, which is a relatively long drive. I've thought about, at some point meeting up at NRA or something like that. I'm not a SHOT Show guy. I'd have no desire to go to SHOT Show. Because I'm not about, the whole marketing thing. I'm more about just going to look at the guns and going, ooh and ah. But I could see going to the NRA and meeting up with those guys. And I think, where's the next one? I don't even remember. The last one was Indianapolis. When's the next one? If somebody can tell me, that'd be great. Let's see. Wicked is saying, come to Utah, everyone carries a gun, and they sell them in 7-Elevens. I believe that. With the steroids. Nice. So 2 for 1. Perfect. Oh, Tennessee. See, now I could probably convince my wife because she wants to go to Tennessee on vacation. So maybe I can convince her to do that. That'd be pretty sweet. So maybe I'll be able to get down to Nashville for the NRA convention. Although I don't really particularly care for the NRA, but it'd be an interesting thing to see some things and just kind of talk to people, Like I said, I'm not about the whole marketing my channel nonsense. This is not my day job. Big Al saying, Big Al, where do you live? Like, where do you actually live? Michelangelo, 4 guys gun meetup in Nashville would be pretty sweet. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I would like to meet Honest Outlaw as well. Seems like a very nice man. I like the comment pop-up format you got going. Yeah, this is the new StreamYard because they got rid of Google Hangouts, and this is a much better format. I agree. So Dennis is saying, Dennis, you must be very local to me. That's very interesting. So you're trying to get a membership to Walden Sportsman Club. When I get in, you can shoot there. I live probably, I'm not telling you where I live, but I live about maybe 20 minutes from there. I've actually tried to get into the Walkill Rod and Gun Club, and that's like booked solid for the next 28 years. So, we'll see. Maybe one day. And Big Al's from Oklahoma. So that's cool. I believe are you a Hoosier? I don't know. I don't even know. Am I saying that? A Hoosier? I don't know. Come to Kentucky. Good old Kentucky. Rabbi likes StreamYard. Let's see. Dexter saying, 1776 bus, what's your number 2 lever action caliber? Number 2? For me, man, what would be my number 2? I mean, I like the government caliber, and I can't remember the number off the top of my head, so my bad. My first is a 30-30, obviously. What is it? I can't remember. It was like a 45 government. I forget what it is. I can't remember. See you, Rabbi. Stop dreaming, buddy. Big Al's an Okie. Sooner. And I said Hoosier. Shame on me. That's Indiana, I believe. So Dennis is about 30 minutes from the club. That's interesting. All right, so Dennis, you pay the fees and I'll go and shoot with you. That's funny. Constitutional carry. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, I was close. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. I was super close. 357 lever gun with side door. Yeah, I like the sides better than the tops. Plus, I'm a lefty shooting the rifle, so it makes it a lot easier. 4570. Thank you, C-Chem. That would be my second choice. 4570 big loop. But I like the 30-30s. That's got just enough punch in it. Let's see. Havoc is saying, what's next as far as gun reviews, or what are you planning? Well, let's see. The Beretta 90-2, I never did a video on. I shot it. I have shooting video of it, but I didn't do any tabletop of it. And I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I was so excited that I wound up sending it out for some work. So I'm getting the grip stippled. I'm getting the thing Cerakoted to make it look nice. It was a bit rough. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible, but it was a bit rough. So I'm going to definitely be doing that. And then when it comes back, I'll do a tabletop with that. Plus, I bought some stuff from Wilson Combat to kind of just better the trigger a little bit. So I'll be doing some stuff with that. I really like that gun. It's a pretty interesting handgun. Not the best by any means, but it's just very interesting. So that's something that I'm going to be doing soon, hopefully. Also, if the Caracal ever comes home, then I'll do that. The Masada is on deck. Also, the Ruger PC carbine. So there's a couple of things. I got a couple of things coming. I just haven't had time to do as much as I want to do. Let's see. Compton Terry saying, Beto O'Rourke just said on MSNBC that we need to confiscate. Does anybody care what Beto O'Rourke says? He's an idiot. My God, that guy's an idiot. Here's what I'd say, Beto. Go to the kids' table and shut up. Let's see. Big Al saying he wanted lever action today, wanted 30-30, but has some issues. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good ones out there. I would always look for an older Marlin, a JM series. I found one that didn't even have the safety, so it was pre-safety, and I should have bought it, and I didn't jump on it, and I regret that every day. Oh, and look, see, Kim said the same thing. Older Marlin. Pistol Pete, do a sights update on the PCR when you get that done. I'd like to see what you put on there. Yeah, I haven't really decided. I mean, I've reached out to a couple of places to see if I could get a hand guard, but nobody answers back. So I would like to change it up a little bit, make it a little bit more custom, so to speak. But I'm just going to keep everything as is for now. I might just throw a little orange paint on the front sight on the ghost ring and just see how that plays out. Let's see. The M9 is a beauty, man. I shot it with the 92, and it's just absolutely fantastic. It's such a fine gun. It's a smooth shooting gun. It's an easy gun to start getting good at, even on that double action. I'm going to probably do some things to that as well. I might put a trigger bar in there from Langdon Tactical at some point. Again, just trying to get the double action, the single action to smoothen up, maybe to lessen out the poundage. But the M9A3 is fantastic. Fantastic. And that is true. El Paso. That is very true. Since I'm probably the closest to that fraud known as Robert, he can stop by my house. Yes, the M9A3 is a keeper for me. It is going to be, it's never going to go anywhere. As a matter of fact, I've been kind of looking at some things, seeing if there's anything I want to move around or whatever. There's not a lot. I mean, right now I have a fairly good amount of things that I really enjoy shooting and enjoy having. And that M9 is just a beauty. That's going to be a keeper. All my CZs, the PCR, both of the P01s, those are keepers. The Walther's a keeper. I love that gun. My M9 right now, the Steyr is a keeper. I might actually wind up getting rid of that at some point to try to fund a new Steyr, but we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, Pistol Pete, I was actually looking for a green one initially, and I couldn't find one. So I went with the FDE, which I've been very happy with, but the green does look pretty sweet. If you could only own one CZ, what would it be? Thinking about a PCR and SPO1. It depends. The SPO1 tactical, which I like better because of the decocker as opposed to the regular SPO1, which is safety only. That's a nice gun. It weighs about 400 pounds, but it's a pretty sweet gun. The PCR, I love the compact CZs, the metal frame CZs that are compacts. I love them. I think those are the best guns they've made. They continue to be, in my opinion, the best guns they make. The P01 Omega, it's okay. I don't like it as much as the regular trigger, but I prefer the PCR over the SPO1. Does Frank have any what? Oh, the green and black? No, but he can order it. I mean, I'm assuming he can order it. I just told him to get me whatever he could find with a 10-round magazine. So he got me the FDE. But I mean, if you call him up, I would always look into it. Gray black M&I. Yeah, those are cool too. Yep. There's a lot of two tones too. Now they have like the tan and black. They've got the green and black, the silver and black. So I mean, they've got a bunch of different things. Yeah, that's a good price. Very good price for that. PCR versus PO1. Depends on what you want. You know, the PO1 weighs just, I think, a little bit more on that front because of the rail. I mean, the first CZ I ever bought was a P01, and I just think they're great. You know, I personally prefer the P01. Not you that you asked, but my next gun is going to be a P09 with a Black Arch Revcon holster. All are all CZ mags interchangeable. The you know, again, I'm not going to sit here and say and profess I'm an expert at magazines. I know that they were changing them around. I think the new P10 mags, like the P10F, those will work in the P09s, but the old P10 mags will not work in the P07s or something stupid like that because they had the ambi mag releases versus the single mag release and all that other shit. So I think that's pretty stupid, but you know, that's it. You know, like I said, you know, CZ makes great guns, but I'm not sure sometimes what they're thinking, to be honest with you. Sometimes they disappoint. I know that's blasphemy for a lot of the new CZ fanboys and girls out there, but clean it up. Let's see. This is the Christmas version, apparently. The red and green M9. Let's see. My local shop gets a green black M9A3, and I might do some dog. Yeah, dude, it's a great gun. It really is. Not necessarily going to be the ultimate carry gun, but it's awesome. I love it. PCR P01. Yes, P01. I used to have a great P01 with Cajun Gunworks. Such an idiot. Oh boy, I don't want to call you an idiot, Compton Terry, but you're an idiot. Let's see. Kathleen saying P10F new ones I think are compatible. I agree. I think they are. So the old ones are not. Very expensive habits. Indeed, sir. Let's see. Dexter saying I don't think any company is perfect because they all have failure at some point. True, they do. It could be anything. It could be marketing. It could be customer service. It could be quality control. Those types of things. There's no such thing as perfection, no matter how much Glock tries to tell you. All right, so Dennis is saying the orange followers are compatible. So there you go. There's your answer. Gen 1 P10 and Gen 2. Well, I don't know. Is there 2 gens or 3 gens now? Because the Gen 1 had a lot. Well, I won't say a lot, but the Gen 1s had some issues with them with the striker plate or the slide plate, whatever you want to call it. And then they came out with a redux or a redo of it, and they fixed that. So it was kind of like the Gen 1.5 maybe. And now the new gens of P10s don't have the ambidextrous mag releases. So now it's only on one side again, and then you can just flip it over. So that's how you can tell. Thoughts on the Canik TP9 SFX? I had one, I sold it, glad I did. I'm not a fan of Canik. I'm not. I've had a lot of problems with Caniks, and I wasn't overly impressed. I mean, the triggers are nice, but there's more to a gun than just the trigger, and you got to be comfortable carrying it and using it. And I just wasn't because, I had what is it, TP9 SF Elite, and the thing had a lot of problems, and the customer service was abysmal. So I would never go that route again. Although a lot of people have had really good luck with them, so it's different for everybody. And I think Ty J says it the best. That is true. I was I forget the name of that company that has made them for the PC, and I tried to hit them up, and that went nowhere. So, so I got to save some money for that. Yeah, I think I got a lemon, and it wasn't just because of the really weak ejection pattern of the ammunition. It was the slide spring broke while I was shooting it. Then it went back to Century Arms, and then they wound up mailing it to New Hampshire instead of to New York. So it was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster. I mean, they tried to make up for it. Which is kind of interesting because the guy who does all the night vision stuff, what's his face? I can't remember his name, but he's that guy. He's like, hey, I'm night vision guy. He was the guy who was working for Century Arms at the time, and I did not, and I was not very nice to him. I'll be honest with you. It was a terrible, terrible experience. No, those are out of my realm of prices, unless somebody wants to send me one. Peepholes on the sides versus on the back. Interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you for that information. Was it Parker Mountain? No. I don't. Is that a guy? I don't even know. Is that a real name? I don't even know if that's a real name. If that's a real name, holy cow, that's pretty amazing name. Ty J was thinking about it. Thanks for the input. No, it wasn't even that. It was just it wasn't a good experience, and at first it was just when you call them up and ask them, hey, why have you had my gun for like 6 months to fix a spring? And you can't get a real answer. And then they bounce you from point A to point B to point C to point D to point F. And then you eventually kind of just lose it and ask to speak to somebody higher. And then it went actually all the way up to the head guy at Century Arms. And he was very nice. I mean, he was very professional, very apologetic. But at that point, the relationship was already ruined by what they had done prior. Dexter, they make one. It's PMM. I don't know what that is. Let me go back. Oh, Parker Mountain. No, it wasn't Parker Mountain. It was Jaeger made a video. James Jaeger made a video on it because they gave him one. What a surprise! But it's pretty cool. I mean, I love the handguard, but it's very costly, and that's too bad. Ty is saying that he had several bad experiences with the Century Arms and their customer service, but not always fully with their products. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's always going to be different. What my experiences were not very good. And again, I'm so biased, but I tell everybody that I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say, oh, it was great. Or I'm not going to sit here and say, well, my experience sucked, so your experience is going to suck, so you shouldn't do business with them. I always just try to tell you what my experiences are, and then you can take away from that whatever you want. It's up to you. I have heard this before, that Ruger does have excellent customer service. So that's something I have heard several times. What's my budget? Free. That's my budget. It depends on what I'm looking at. I can't ever see paying crazy amounts of money for handguns. I know some people out there, they buy very expensive guns, and that's great. I don't have any problem with that. I don't have any jealousy or I'm not in any way, shape, or form jealous or in awe of any of that. For me, I would say a really good handgun that I'd love to see or buy, maybe $800, but even that is kind of iffy for me. That's very iffy for me, actually. Let's see. If you follow more Gucci YouTubers, you might be influenced differently. Probably not. I'm not a very influenced person. If you haven't figured it out, I pretty much have a very, very, very strong personality. So I don't get influenced by much. I'm a little too old for that. I do what I like, and I get what I like, and that's it. On good places, that's why so many people go there, then it lives that it all up. Yeah, I mean, New York used to be a great place, man. It really did. $700, Rock Island, 2011. That's pretty good. Tactical 2-box and Talon say, or is it Psy? I don't know. I get the urge to mod the. Yeah, I mean, like I said, everybody has kind of their niche. I mean, obviously, Tactical 2-box is like, the Gucci Glock guy. I just can't see spending, $1,500 to modify a Glock. I mean, that's just crazy to me. Like, that makes no sense. Now, if you're able to do that and they're giving you the stuff, that's awesome. More power to you. But I just could never see burning that kind of money on a gun like that. Let's see. Yeah, I was talking about the PC9 handguard. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, I'm not a. STIs are nice, but like I said, I don't really have a practical purpose for it. There's so much quality in the market around the $400 to $500 mark. You're absolutely correct, and I think that's why I don't really ever go crazy and trade like a bunch of guns for one. I mean, the only time I've done that was for the M9A3, but that was such a unique gun for me that I wanted to do it, you know. But like you said, I mean, there's so many good offerings right now. I mean, look at the Masada. The Masada's a $400 gun, and it seems to be pretty decent. I mean, is it going to be the best? Probably not, but I think it's going to be fairly decent. You know, the M&P series right now, you can find compacts, you can find full size. Go to Gunbroker and you're going to find them for like $400. And they're great. I mean, they're just awesome guns. And, you know, you don't necessarily have to invest money into them. If you want to upgrade the trigger, obviously an Apex trigger is what I would always recommend. And once you put that Apex in, yes, it's costly, but man, that gun flies. That gun just burns through ammo with that trigger. It's fantastic. Yeah, you know, it's kind of weird. I like Glocks. I don't have any problems with Glocks, but I've gotten rid of all of them except for the 19X. That's the only one I have left. I've kind of gotten sick of them because, you know, there's so many good options out there that I think are better. Maybe not necessarily with the history of it, but I think they are very, very solid performers. The APX series I think are great. The M&Ps I think are just top notch. You know, and we'll see. We'll see how the Masada is. Yeah, we talked about used guns the other night. I agree with that. Absolutely. And there we go. Pistol P, $2,200 Agency Arms Glock 17 review. Trust me, they didn't pay for them. Yeah, I don't know, man. I that's just crazy. A $2,200 Glock. That's like, yeah, never gonna happen. I'm torn on buying an LTT or Legion, Shadow 2, but don't think I. You know, everybody wants a Shadow 2. I mean, I shot it. It's a really awesome gun, but I just unless you're competitively shooting, why? You have to ask yourself that question. Is it just to have one? Like, why are you buying that? Are you going to use it in a competition? Is that going to be the gun that you use for most of it? I mean, to me, it's got to have a purpose, you know? So if you mention all three of those, the Langdon Tactical is pretty sweet. But I've been so impressed with the P225 that I wouldn't mind owning a Legion at some point one day, even though I'm kind of mad at SIG right now. Let's see what went wrong with the 48. You know what went wrong with the 48 was this. I'll show you really quick. This, the MP 2.0 shield, the 4-inch slide. That's what went wrong. There was nothing wrong with the 48, man. It was a good gun. It performed well, but the shield to me is just a better gun. And then Ty is saying the only reason why I dropped that on the Shadow 2 is he shoots three guns. So that makes sense. To me, that makes sense. Absolutely. Interested in the new Star A2 when the M size 4-inch barrel comes out. Yep, that's what I'm waiting for. I am waiting for the M2. That's the one I want more than the L. I've had both L and M, and I prefer the M. It's just, in my opinion, just fits me better, and I like to shoot it better than the L. Okay. All right. So it is now 10:32. I'm going to be shutting this down here in about a minute or two. So if anybody has any last minute questions, I have no problem taking them. Again, if you guys have not subscribed to this channel, please do so. We finally hit over 10,000. I think, I don't know where it's at tonight. But I've seen a little bit of growth. I'm kind of excited. I mean, it's nice to be a guy from New York who doesn't have much in the way of anything. And we hit 10,100 tonight. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. No problem, Keith. Appreciate you coming out. Let's see. Pistol Pete, thank you, sir. Let's see. Rock Island. Nice. All right, guys. So if no other last second questions, wait, there's one left. God, it's always got to be one. Constitutional right. Do you think that Steyr will come out soon with an optic ready model? From what I'm hearing, no. Sorry. I don't think they're going to be doing that. However, Ranger Point Precision does have ways to do that. It's a workaround with it. So, I mean, that's kind of cool, but it's not necessarily what you would be looking for. Dennis, have a good night, buddy. Armsman, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Let's see, one last thing here. After carrying the P320F in my pants for 2 months, don't know if I'd want to buy a smaller gun. You got to do what makes you happy, guy. All right, guys. I hope you have a great night. Again, support other channels on YouTube. Support my channel. That'd be great just by subscribing. And just keep watching. I hope you guys have a great night and enjoy your weekends because tomorrow's Friday. I'm actually going to a concert tomorrow night. Super excited. My wife and I are going to go see Pink. So I know a lot of you guys may say, Pink. Dude, I like Pink. Okay. I got no problem with Pink. And my wife loves her. So, you got to take one for the team, guys. So again, guys, have a great night. I hope to hear from you soon. Big Al, shoot me an email, buddy. And maybe we can arrange some dinner or lunch at some point, sir. So hope you guys have a great night, man. And we'll see you next time.